Good morning, everyone. My name is Orphie Easson. I'm from St. Catharines, Ontario, which is right outside of Niagara Falls, Ontario. And I'm very happy to be the chairman for this particular subject of one-night stands. I have been involved in recreation and square dancing for many years. I grew up in a rural area where I square danced as a child with family, and throughout the central area of Ontario, traditional square dancing is still very much alive and was very nicely done and executed when I was a child, and I was excited always about square dancing and teaching dancing. Throughout years of working in 4-H and rural organizations, I always seemed to be involved in the recreation or dance part of their program. I worked as a recreation leader for Ontario Department of Education for many years, and when I retired from the working field to be a mother of children, I continued to be a square dance caller, which was at that time a very growing new movement when traditional was changing slightly and becoming modern, and I went through the transition from traditional to modern square dancing. So square dancing has been a part of my life, and I'd like to tell you how many years, but ladies do not tell their age. It seems to me that the one-night stand part of square dancing, my definition, as you'll see the outline, is more or less my idea of what one-night stand programs are, and I define it as a simple program of square dancing and complementary dancing that we use for non-dancers, as opposed to callers who are calling in for a different club every night, or in a different area every night, where sometimes those are called one-night stand programs. Now, most of this stuff I have written down, and so you can follow along and maybe think up some ways of adding. Yes?
Are there any more handouts?
Yes, there are lots of handouts. We'll get them to you. You want them circulated? We can send them back. They're here at the end of the table if somebody would shoot them back. Okay? There's lots here. I think that one-night stand program has all the advantages of any square dance night. People come out for fun and to have a good time, and it involves physical and mental exercise and the enjoyment of the people present. Never to lose the fact that really square dancing is a means for sociability, not the end-all. The program sort of suits the people. And the benefits to callers who work in one-night stand programs are, it's a possibility of bringing square dancers into our activity, people into our activity, into our clubs, and dancing on a regular basis. It's a chance to be involved in community activity, and I shouldn't sometimes mention money, but it has lucrative return. Many callers gear their fee structures for one-night stands to those charged by local DJs, and that's quite good money. I know that I have friends who have become DJs, doing one-night stands on the weekends when they do their clubs during the week, and they're doing this because they are able to make better money, if we're talking about the money end of it. One-night stands are a real test of leadership ability. These programs demand that the callers be well prepared for a wide span of ability and interest, and the caller must perceive the ability of the group quickly. There's little margin for error, or you lose the party feeling, and it's pretty hard to find. All leadership requirements apply. You need calling skills, preparation, enthusiasm, friendliness, interest, adjusting to the needs of groups, and being sure the activity fills the needs of the group who are there. Callers doing this kind of program feel they get most of their business by referral. You should keep business cards because usually at a one-night stand program, someone else is there looking for program, and if you have cards or some kind of advertising, you will usually get bookings from the dancers that you do. If you're looking to do this kind of program, advertise in local papers or send letters to local organizations indicating you are available for square dance parties. And I've listed the organizations that I can think of that will sometimes like this kind of program. A one-night stand is structured much like any other dance, with a warm-up segment first, then some slightly more complex material when the participants are most attentive, and then a leveling off of new material as the caller leads the dancers through a variation of familiar basics. A variety of music and formations fill out the program. Repetition of material to different music is good. The program should be simple with quick, clear instruction and walkthroughs. Use lively, familiar music that has everyone toe-tapping and ready to enjoy it when the dance begins. Adjust the music to the age group. Country music fits most groups. It's so popular right now. But there are some rock and roll and disco-style records available that will be appreciated by the younger age group, and sometimes the older age group too. Formations such as squares, lines or contra, circle, mixers and couple dances, solo, and sometimes ballroom dances can be used included in the program. So, after we get to the dance, it's time to put on a lively hoedown and invite everyone to join hands in a circle. It isn't important to have couples or to have the girl on the right. Just get everyone in for fun. We're going to talk about the program part, or the opposite page, afterwards when I am involved. And I want to introduce the other. I should have done this before the introduction of the subject. The other members of the panel. On my far right is Bob Howell, and Bob is from Euclid, Ohio. He's the editor of the Easy Level page of the American Square Dance magazine. He's recorded for Gren and Lloyd Shaw. He's the past chairman of Legacy and a charter member of CALLERLAB. He has abilities. He hasn't told me to say this, but he has abilities in teaching many levels and facets of square dancing. Has a great reputation for doing marvelous programs in the one-night stand field, and in giving seminars for leaders who are interested. I'd like you to welcome Bob Howell to the panel. Bob. The other member of our panel is Melton Luttrell, and he's from Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, I don't have a proper accent, I'm sorry. He began calling in 1949. He went to caller schools with Herb Gregerson in 1950 and 51. And he has been a CALLERLAB member of the board, and a member of the board since 1973. His experience in all phases of square dancing in his area, and he has traveled extensively, although he points out to me that he thinks of himself as a local caller. He's a very well-known caller and highly regarded in the field of one-night stands. Please welcome Melton Luttrell. Now, we thought you'd like to be involved in the program, and we're going to call on, first of all, Bob to tell you a little, to give you his points of view on one-night stands, and he's going to take you into some material, and then Melton and myself, and we'll just be as active as we can possibly be. may I turn the mic over to Bob Howell.
Thank you very much, Orphie. I hope this will come through that other one, because I'd much prefer to use this microphone. It's more a part of my body. It's almost like a growth on the front of me, I guess. It spends more time with me than I guess anything else. Thank you very, very much. Yes, I'd like to share with you this morning and do some things, if I may, not philosophical. I'm going to leave that to somebody else. Furthermore, I learned a long time ago that a philosopher is somebody that tells you something you already know in language that you don't understand. And I'd rather, in fact, I got that from a professor one time and never understood him anyhow. I'd like to do some things with you this morning. From the practical standpoint, that I think the toughest thing with a one-night stand, and as I said to one lady, she wanted me to bring dancers in, and I said, no way, I will not bring dancers in. I don't want to bring any people in to dance before you, because, well, the best reason, I guess, is because the ladies sit there and watch all the twirls and all, and can't hardly wait to get on the floor, and the fellas go right into the woodwork. It scares the living daylights out of them seeing all that fancy stuff. So, as I said to one gal, she said, well, I want dancers, and I said, no, ma'am, I'll not bring them. But I will do this. I said, if I don't have 90% of the people on the floor in the first 3 minutes, don't pay me. She says, that's rather an awesome statement. And in 37 years, I've never had it happen. Now, sometime along the way, somebody's going to turn me down. However, the practicality of this is this, that I find doing one-night stands or conventions, I may have 4,000 people on the floor of that auditorium who have never danced. Some have danced, some have never danced. Or I may have a family group or a school group. And generally, they aren't partnered off. They don't have even numbers. So I, believe it or not, and I realize fully that square dancing is a couple activity. I don't care how you want to look at it. Square dancing to me is a couple activity. The only thing is, I don't have even numbers of sexes, so most of my calling at the beginning of the evening of a one-night stand is totally sexless. Now that sounds totally disinteresting as far as I'm concerned, but it's true. I don't care what you are, a man or a woman, etc. And therefore, well, like I get a bus trip. Here I get the group from the JCC comes out. They had 48 women and 4 men. And those gals wanted to dance. And the one man was back in the corner. Please, I'm a sick man. I had a heart attack. I got a bone in my leg. The one was, I never figured that one out. And so have I. And it hasn't stopped me. But he didn't want to dance. The rest of them. What do you do with a group like that? Well, let's think just a little bit about just kind of taking people. Just people now. I'm not going to refer to you as ladies or gents for just a moment, because my first activities are going to be totally sexless. Lady at the public auditorium said to me one time, how are you going to move those people out? And I said, don't worry, we'll do it in less than 15 seconds, and we're going to do it right now. Because I'd like for you people in the front here, unless you got a bone in your leg or unless you got a heart condition, I'm being facetious, but would you do this for me? Just these people right here, I'd like for you all to stand up for me. Would you real quickly? Put all that you have right on your chair. Just set everything down. Now walk around behind your chair, real quickly. Get behind your chair, and the rest of you be absolutely silent, because we're going to have a seance. That's it. I want you folks right down here. I gotta do something with all you people right here in front. Whether you want to participate or not, you ain't got much choice. And I say the word ain't very reverently. You know what? I know a lot of people that don't say ain't, and they ain't eating, and I am. So after 30 years as a school principal, and I could never say ain't, I say it as often as I can. Now, would you do this for me? Would you all close your eyes? Put your hands on the back of your chair. Close your eyes now. Shh. Absolute silence. Your chair is beginning to rise. It's beginning to rise. It's beginning to rise. Would you just pick up your chair and walk it off to the side of the floor for me, please? That's fine. Thank you. That's the quickest way of getting everything moved fast. And you folks that would rather not dance, if you'll just come on over. I need some space right up here, real fast. You can move 4,000 chairs in less than a minute. Why, by golly, that's fast movement. All right. Now that our seance is over, and get those chairs out of there completely for me, would you? And then I'd like for you to join hands in a circle for me, because as Orphie said, every evening, and folks, whether it's a one-night stand or a club dance, I start every dance with a circle. To me, in playing and in sharing with people, you know, Cleveland has spent millions and millions of dollars busing kids all over the county. And I've said before, if I could just have them for a little while and have them join hands, they don't need all that bussing. Because when you're holding hands with somebody, you trust them. At least you know they don't have anything in their hands that's going to hurt you. All right. Now, is every other person standing between two people? All right, don't try to figure that out. It's going to take us the rest of the session to get over that part. All right, would you do this for me? Actually, what I really do, I just get them up and start 8 times with the left foot, 8 times with the right foot, 8 times with the left, and 8 times with the right circle, the left circle, right into the center and back, ladies in, men back out, or ladies in and back out, gents in and out. Then, and I don't care what age they are, whether I'm working with people in their 90s, they're no different than those little kids or those 4th and 5th graders. I have the girls go in and come back, then I have the boys go in and stay there, face out, join hands, because while you got the girls in the outside circle, the guys will never get into the john. Otherwise, if you put the boys on the outside, they're going right out the door of the gymnasium and they're lost. Okay, now, if you will for me, just very quickly, will you cluster into threes? I'm going to do just a little nest for a few minutes of nothing but threes and twos and things of that sort. Here we go. All right. Now, are you in threes? If you haven't got threes, go out and get somebody else. And I don't care whether it's 2 boys and a girl, 2 girls and a boy, 3 boys or 3 girls, or any other combination you can think of. All right. Would you open out into a little line of 3 for me? That's it. Now I want you to promenade around in threes. You're going to walk around in threes and stop right there for just a second. What are you 3 fellas so disgruntled about? I called this in San Francisco the other night, and they loved it. Oh, that's not nice. I got friends from San Francisco, haven't I? All right. Now, I used to have friends from San Francisco. I just lost them. Yes, I went out there at Christmas, and I donned my gay apparel and everything else, and we had a heck of a good time. Will you do this for me? You're going to walk for 16 steps. You're going to walk forward for 16 steps, and then, is this thing... or they turned me down. All right. Now, you're going to walk forward 16 steps. Are you with me? All right. And then, center person. I'm going to call this Wild Turkey. By the way, Grand Records, if I get a pitch in, I'm working with Hugh on this. I'm making a whole series of one-night stand stuff. And well, it's just this type of thing. What is the matter with this? Am I fading? All right, here we go. You're going to walk 16. Center person is my Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey, face to your right-hand person. That's the outside person. The middle person is my Wild Turkey. Not the middle of the circle, but the middle of the 3. Face your outside person. Turn them with... Oh, there she goes. I've got a real turkey in here. All right, face the outside person quickly. Turn that person by the right. All the way around by the right. Now go across to the left-hand person with the left elbow. All right, folks, here we go. A little thing called Wild Turkey. Let's do it. Everybody, walk 16 steps. Go walk 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wild Turkey. Turn the right hand person by the right elbow. Now the left hand person with the left elbow. Get ready. Slowly. Promenade. Go. Walk 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Center person. Swing the right hand person by the right elbow. Now the left-hand person by the left. That's it. And stop right there. Freeze. All right, fine. Now I've got my 5th graders, or 6th graders, 3 boys and 3 girls. Fine, we're going to make a mixer out of it now. After you've swung the right with the right, the left with the left, you're going to move up to the next 2 in front of you. Does this have any relationship to square dancing? It sure does, because I do all this stuff at the beginning of the evening, and then I can really unload. Here we go. Get ready. A little faster now. Here she comes as a mixer. Promenade 16. Go walk 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Center person. Turn the right hand person by the right. Now the left hand person with the left. Move up. Do threes. Get ready. Promenade. Go walk 2, 3. I've got them trapped already. Do you see? That's it. Wild Turkey. Swing the right hand person by the right. Now the left hand person with the left. Move up. And stop it right there. Good. Now I've already got them. That's just a little thing called pious fraud. It's Dr. Boda, the great philosopher from Ohio State University, used to refer to it as pious fraud. I've dealt from the bottom of the deck. I'm still smiling, and this damn thing doesn't work. I'm going to give up. There we are. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. The tape. My God. Oh, I can't even say that either. Here comes my savior. Jim, I don't know what, I've just screwed that thing in. Maybe it'll work now. All right, let's just keep your formation for once. I got a record from a young man up in Minnesota. Adina, is it, I think? And it does this one. He calls it the butterfly mixer. This time, will you hook your elbows? Jim, can I have you sit right there? Thank you. I feel more confident that way. Good. So does he. All right. Now, you're hooking your elbows. Will you do this for me? Pick up your right foot. Way up, like a high-stepping horse. Now bring it down. Now bring up your left foot and to bring it down. Now, the instructions were all screwed up. I had to redo them. In his instructions, he said, pick up your right foot. Then he said, now pick up your left foot. I tried it 3 times, and every time I did it, I fell flat on my derriere. Yeah. So I had to rewrite it. Pick up your right, then your left, but it's in waltz rhythm. Now, when I was down in Texas, excuse me, Melton, down there, of course, they're kicking like Cotton Eye Joe. But when I use it over in the Balkans, those Austrians know how to do it. They lift their foot and swing it, and lift that foot and swing it across. So if you will, while the waltz rhythm's on, you just start lifting that foot and keep going with me. Now, the wild turkey who's in the center is this time going to do this. Face the inside person. Face your left-hand person. Swing him with the right elbow. Left-hand person by the right. Now the outside person by the left. And you're going to just keep back to the other person with the right. Back to the other person with the left. And if you aren't going to get a cheap high out of this, I don't know what you will. But here we go. A little bit of a thing called the butterfly mixer. Waltz rhythm first. Ready? Oh, is it? Okay. I thought I was fading. Maybe it's my hearing aid. Ready? Right foot. Right. Right. Up. Now left. And right. And left. Keep moving forward. Right. And left. And right. And left. It's right. Way up. Left. Right. And left. It's right. And left. Ready? Center person. Turn. Face your left. Swing him with the right. To the left-hand person with the left elbow. Go back with the right, with the right. To the other with the left. Bring back. Oh, bring back. Oh, bring back my Lindsay to me. Get ready from the beginning. Right. Left. Come on, get him up. Right. Left. Right. Left. Right. Left. All right. Are you ready? Here we go. Swing the right-hand person with the right. Now the left-hand person with the left. Bring back my Bonnie to me, hey, bring back, oh, bring back my Bonnie to me. Hold it right there, that's enough. We'll have to have the other team in here in a moment. I've got these people holding on to each other. They're completely forgetting whether they're a boy or a girl by now. They really are. Yes, they've lost the sex identification completely, and they're moving right along. All right, I'm going to skip over a couple of them that I've had here. Let me do a little one that I got out of the New England Caller. Chip Hendrickson put it in there originally, and I revised it slightly, called Rebecca's Roundabout. Would you do this for me? Join hands again in your little lines of 8. Let's put a new person in the center. Let's move the outside person into the center. That's it. A little bit of variety and spice in life never hurts. That's for sure. All right. This time, if you will, would you all promenade around the ring? Go. Promenade 8 steps for me. Or 16 steps, I'm sorry. Now, stop right there. Make a right-hand star. Here's where I varied it. A little 3-hand right-hand star. Go. Right-hand star. Now, you folks did it automatically. I sometimes have to explain that. Back with the left-hand star. All right, join hands, circle to the left. Or as a fellow in Staten Island was calling the other night, suckle. Suckle. He kept saying suckle, and I didn't know what he was talking about. Now, suckle to the right. These differences of locale, you know, scared the daylights out of me. All right, fine. Now, if you will the two outside or the two wide people, the left and the right-hand person, would you do this for me? Would you make a star, or make an arch, I'm sorry. Make an arch with the other available hand. See, you're still holding on to the center person's hand just at the moment. Make an arch in front of them. Now drop the center person's hand. That center person, duck under the arch, go around the right-hand person. Around to the right. Duck under the arch, go around to the left. Duck under the arch, move up. It's called Rebecca's Roundabout. Variation of it anyhow. Okay, have you got 3 new people? How do you like what you got? My apologies. We'll change that in a moment. All right, here we go. Let's try a little of it and see what she looks like. You're going to promenade 16 and take it away. Here she comes. The 2 external people. Are you ready? March. 1, 2, 6. Look at how tall they are with that music. Make a right-hand star. Star with the right, with the right, with the right. Go back with the left-hand star from where you are. Circle to the left. Circle to the right. Get ready, make your tunnel. Here they come. Duck under. to the left. Duck through, move up. Everybody ready, march. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I get people just singing. Star right. Back with the left-hand star. Circle to the left. Circle to the right. Get ready, make your tunnel. Here they come. Duck to the right. Duck to the left. Duck through. Move up and everybody freeze. Oh, all right. Good. That's it. And we got them mixing again. You'll notice I haven't cared at all what sex you are. You have. Well, yes, that was God Bless America. Oh, surely. All right, fine. That was a nasty remark. Surely. Yes, I used Wild Turkey. I think it was on a Big Mac label on that first one. The second one I did was on a, the young man's putting it out himself up there. It's on, he calls it Chris Callerlab Orchestra out of Edina, Minnesota. It can be gotten through Palomino. The number on it is, where's my bifocals here? PA 45101. Orphie has some copies of this made up. I think there's only about a half dozen copies, but if somebody would like to copy it, I'm sure that they'd be glad to take your money way downstairs. Mason's Apron. All right, little old folk craft on this one. Here we go. This one is 45 RPM, 1512A. Mason's Apron. And, by the way, if any of you get the least bit tired, go out and seek somebody else. I don't want to get our circle any larger than what we've got it right now. On the Trey Trio, Ken Kernan out of, he's Albuquerque now, I guess, or somewhere down in there, Phoenix, gave me this one. He calls it Trey Trio, T-R-E-S, it's a French word, if you will, for me. We've worked only with threes going in one direction. Now, yes, we can use the Ohio State system if you'd like to substitute. You know the Ohio State system, they have the three platoon. They have the offense, the defense, and those that go to classes. It works. Anyhow, now, on this one, on this Trey Trio, I'd like for you, if you will, would you have the three of you three right here, turn around and face the three behind you. That's the simplest way to do it. And do that all the way around the circle. I want every other three to face, I want three facing three. Okay, does it work out right? What I need? Well, that's all right. Okay, freeze. Let's not have another three come up. You three meet there, and you other three just stand pat. Don't leave the floor, because you'll meet somebody in just a moment. All right, if you will, for me, as a little circle of 6. What I'd like for you to do is circle to the left 16 steps, and take it slow. Don't do it. You've just done it. Okay, fine. Now, the end people do a do-sa-do. And notice I've slipped that in very quickly. And most people will know or have seen a do-sa-do. If they haven't, well, tell it to them in Swiss or German or something else, and they'll finally get it. Now, center's do-sa-do. Go. That's it. All right. Now, center's face to the right. Center's face to the right, do a do-sa-do. Boy, if you don't think this isn't a do-sa-do drill. Center's face to the left, do a do-sa-do. That's it. Now, in little lines of 3, I want you to go forward and back and freeze for just a moment. I don't want anybody to bow. I want you to take 3 little steps. Up at Central Michigan, I had a bunch of jocks up there, and these gals and guys, and they would walk forward 3 and bend over, and I had about half dozen of them with hematomas right between their eyes. So don't do it. We're in close quarters. Go 3 steps forward and dip. 3, dip, back up, real pretty. Pass through, everybody. Move straight ahead. Don't turn around. Here's the secret, because most people want to turn around and mess with the same ones they were messing around with before, and that ain't fair. Now I got 3 odd people out there. Yes, I have. Yeah, they have nobody to mess with. That's fine. Okay, let's try a little of it and see what she looks like. Trey Trio. Trey Trio. Here she comes. Nice and slow and easy. This one now. Circle left. Circle left. All the way. Keep going. When you get back home, just the ends. Do-sa-do. Centers. Do-sa-do. Centers face right. Do-sa-do. Centers face left, do-sa-do. In lines 3, forward and back, up, come back, pass through, move on to the next. And stop right there, freeze. All right, enough of that. Let me move on. I've got 3 working with 3 now. Notice what we've put in there. Do-sa-do. We've also got a hey for 3. If you ever want to bring it in, you've got it done automatically. They've done a hey for 3 right off the top of their head without them even knowing about it. All right, now, this time, if you will, let's change this just slightly. And I'm going to skip down here. 3 persons facing 3. If you will, for me. I wrote this one when I was down in Texas. I was working for a millionaire. I was working with the Texas Boy Choir, 58 little boys. What do you do with 58 little boys? He says, Mr. Howell, teach them a dance. Last summer I had the chance of working with 72 nuns. I did a retreat for the Easson order. What do you do with nuns? I'll tell you, you get in trouble. On account of because I split them, I said, ladies, girls, this half are men and that half are ladies. The only trouble was I got into a Virginia reel and didn't realize 4 of them couldn't speak English. They were from Paris. Oh, damnedest mess you've ever seen in your life. Okay, now on this TBC or Texas Boy Choir trio, it goes like this for me, if you will. You're in lines of 3. Okay, now everybody's facing somebody. I've got one odd line there, though, haven't I? Okay, good enough? Yeah. All right. If you will, you're going the line, the people on the outside of the circle are my leaders. Person on the outside is my leader. In each case, the line that turned around is number 2. So number 2's wave 2 hands in the air. That's it. Number 1 that was facing in the original promenade direction, raise 1 hand quietly. That's it. Good. All right. Captain of number 1, will you lead your line around the other line of 3? Join hands. Lead them all the way around the 2s. Go. Outside. Going out. Out. All the way around. Take them with you. Don't lose them. All right. When you get back home, number 2 line, lead around the line. Go. All the way around. That's it. Good. All the way around till you get back home. When you get back home, 4 corners make a right-hand star. Star by the right, 4 corners. There you go. 4 corners, you center people get out of there. Center 2 people now do a do-sa-do. That's it. Go forward up to the middle and come on back. Everybody pass through. You meet a brand new 3 and let's dance it. Here we go. And folks, if you want to hear people sing, just try this. Another one of Cal's and Don Williamson's great ones. Here she comes. Let's do it. Number 1, get ready. Captain, lead around the other 3. Go. Number 2, go. Four corners, star by the right. Go. Centers, do-sa-do. Go. In lines of 3, go forward, up to the middle, and come on back. Then pass through, meet a brand new 3, one more time. Ones, do it, go. Number 2, go. Can you see 4,000 people doing this? It works. Corners, star right, go. Centers, do-sa-do. In lines of 3, go forward, up to the middle, and come on back. Pass through. Thank you. Folks, how about giving these people a nice hand? Weren't they great? They were absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your indulgence. You may get your chairs and gather up again. Or, Melton, you don't want them out here, do you? No, he'd rather just have you bring your chairs back. Really, folks, thank you for the opportunity. I do this about 6 or 7 nights a week, and it doesn't make any difference of how many girls, how many boys, or whether they're all one sex, etc. But I can get them, and again, then I go into a couples type of thing with a Sicilian circle, and before you know it, they're in squares, and the evening has begun, and it's no teaching. It's all done with music, and they move right along on it. Thank you, Orphie. It's yours.
And a big hand for Bob Howell. Thank you, Bob. Now that the seance is over and we're all back within the room, our next panel member, Melton Luttrell, is going to talk to you about his involvement with one-night stands. Melton?
Thank you, Orphie, and good morning. It would be tough to top that. That's very nice, Bob. I was very impressed. I was sitting there wishing I'd have gone first. Well, see, because he just ruined everything I was going to say, I got to start all over. No, I'd like to talk to you before we had the little session completely in mind. Orphie and I had a nice telephone conversation about it and tried to more or less decide what part I would play. And it seemed to fit in rather naturally that since Bob has great experience in the one-night stands with large and small groups of no-sex-type dances. I don't have any sex-type dances at home anyway, but with the no-sex-type concept, it would, and he has great expertise in that, and I certainly appreciate it. It fit rather naturally, maybe, that the part that I would talk to you about is where I have most of my experience in one-night stands. And that has to do with working with foreign delegations. I am employed by General Dynamics, and part of my sideline work encompasses my hobby, or avocation of square dancing, whichever you want to call it. And I have the opportunity to work with a great number of foreign delegations that visit our company for business reasons. And I suppose on the order of about one time a month or thereabouts, the company will sponsor a activity that they simply term our Texas Western Party, because there seems to be some kind of I don't know how to word it, but I'd say maybe a myth that exists throughout the world about a Texas cowboy. So they try to project that image when in reality it's not very much like we project it. But the things we try to do are put on as little presentations, which include demonstrations with a square or two squares of dancers, and then followed by audience participation. So normally the type groups that I have experience in working with are where we'll have a delegation of some anywhere from 10 to 30 or 40 foreign people who usually are very high up in some particular level of government. And we've had the good fortune, or whatever you would like to term it, of working with the NATO foreign ministers, the people who are leaders in the government of defense, in the governing body of the Senate, the House, some of the royalty that is, depending on which country it is. So it's more a select group rather than a broad spectrum. And so we don't have the opportunity maybe to do an entire program as Bob has presented. Usually ours is connected with some sort of a business arrangement, because oftentimes we are given the instructions ahead of time. Part of the time is to make sure that there is ample time for table discussion, and it usually includes dinner and this sort of thing. And surely some of you folks have run into this sort of activity in your careers. It's very rewarding to me personally to get to meet several people like this and become slightly acquainted. And I would just sort of pass on these tips to you as to how we do it. So in event that you have that opportunity, maybe we could share some of these experiences together this morning. My concept in handling that sort of thing is to take a couple of squares with us who I would not call exhibition dancers as such, but merely club dancers that I can dress up very pretty, because most of the people enjoy seeing the costuming as much as they do the actual activity. So we try to make sure all the dancers we select are costumed very beautifully. We have the girls to wear their very nicest dresses, and the gentlemen to certainly look Western and appropriate. And we usually work up any type of square dancing that we'd use in our normal club and come on in more or less an exhibition manner. And we'll dance, but for a very short period of time, and it is enthusiastically received without exception. They just seem to think it's the greatest thing in the world, because most of these people have not had the opportunity to see anything like square dancing. So we'll dance for the order of, on the order of say 10 or 12 or 15 minutes. Just enough to sort of give them a taste of what it's all like from a visual standpoint. And then I usually am provided a list of people in order of importance. And the list may run from 4 or 5 to 25 of the people that they feel like should have some sort of recognition throughout the dance activity. So then we use a sort of a little standard gimmick of having the usually, depending on the protocol at that particular evening, but usually starting with some of the middle-of-the-road type important people. For example, if we are dealing with defense people and we are dealing in military rank and we have a couple of generals, well, maybe we'll start with a major or something on that order. We won't start at the very top. And we'll simply invite these people up in a sort of a pleasant manner to say, would you please join us in our activity, because we feel like that our activity is one that you can watch and enjoy, and we hope that you did enjoy it. But we also feel that the most pleasure to be gotten out of the square dance activity is through the participation. So would you please join us in participating? And then we'll ask for Major so-and-so, please come up. Would you join us? And we'll usually take 2 or 3 at a time, depending on how many squares we're working with on the floor. And if, for example, if we had 2 squares working, we'll usually only pick 2 people. And we'll bring those 2 people up, and one at a time, and offer those gentlemen their choice of any lady in the square. And we, usually make jokes about that. Here are 4 very beautiful ladies, and you are free to make a choice, because any gentleman will gladly relinquish his partner for the time being for you to dance with. And it's very amusing to me personally to see which ones they choose, because I usually play a little game with the dancers ahead of time as to which particular girl is going to be chosen the most, and they run a little game among themselves. I caught 2 or I caught 3 or this sort of thing. But anyway, with that in mind, they usually pick a dancer, and then we go through just sort of a little funning type session in which we kid the particular person that we are training at the moment. And one of the gimmicks we use is we immediately tell that person, well, your name happens to be, in the case of Japanese, something that I could nowhere near pronounce. And we'll sort of kiddingly tell that person, it's impossible for me to pronounce your name properly. So rather than embarrass you or me either, we're going to adopt you as a Texan. So henceforth, we'll call you Pecos Pete, or Panhandle Slim, or Texas Red, and just try to get a little rise out of that. And usually the audience response is great, because the audience usually joins in and chants it, Texas Red or Pistol Pete or what have you. Well, with that in mind, we get the 2 or 3 people involved in, and if we have neckerchiefs, the bright red bandanas available, we'll usually stick one around their neck or something to this order, just to give them a little touch of Western. And then simply begin by just a very few basic instructions, such as, we would like to know if you understand the word left, because in most instances they speak limited English, and if we can convince them which their left hand is and which their right hand is, then it becomes sort of a pulling action, more or less. So we just kid them along as we dance and put them through maybe 3 or 4 minutes of square dancing, in which we do very simple patterns of just stars and circles and forwards and backs or something like that. And then as we progress up the ladder in the importance of the people with whom we're working, we try to make them feel a little bit better by saying, well, now we're up at the level to where surely we can get you through some very complicated fundamentals. And we'll kiddingly say, this is probably the hardest thing to learn in square dancing, is a grand square. And if you can do a grand square, you should just go back home and tell your friends that you have danced a grand square, and something to that effect. Well, needless to say, the response has been gratifying up to date through many of these that we've done over the past few years. It's unbelievable at the response we get. So after dancing with just a very few of these people through the list of 10, 12, or what have you, which usually takes about 30 minutes, usually we follow that with a break, and then let them relax a little bit, and then come back and take the group in mass and begin to invite our dancers to go out into the audience and pick up other people and join them all in any sort of a circle that we can get, very similar to the way Bob demonstrated. We usually pair them up in couples in a circle and have them facing reverse directions rather than in threes as you did, and pass through and on to the next and this sort of thing, and work with those people in any fashion that we can. I guess the only point that I'd like to really make with this thing, because any of you could do a similar thing and I couldn't pass on any particular tips to you as to how to do the dancing itself. I think there are 100 different ways that you could please those people. The concept is what I have in mind, to break down a barrier. Now then, I have seen it happen repeatedly, and I have been told by the chairman of our board of our company, of our corporation, that it absolutely is the best means that he has ever seen of putting people who are normally in a dignified position in a casual manner. Put them into a position where you can break down and communicate with those people one-on-one. We've had people who come in who were so stuffy to begin with, and the protocol was so thick that you were just almost afraid to talk to them. But you can put them up on the floor in any sort of fashion. Put a bandana around their neck, put them in a circle of people, get them to dancing a little bit, and all of a sudden the people on the sidelines start clapping in rhythm with the music. And everything just seems to break down at that moment. And within 20 or 30 minutes, you can take people who were supposedly on a business trip to negotiate billions, in some case, of dollars of contracts. And all of a sudden, they're down to the situation where, hey, you're Joe and I'm Slim, and you're Tex and I'm Pete, and this is great. And you can sit over on the sideline in between and just visit. It has to be the greatest means I've ever saw of breaking the ice with people. It's just unbelievable what you can do with it. The techniques that Bob used would be perfect for it after a spell. And, we've worked quite closely with Israelis, in fact, on 3 or 4 occasions. And they are such fun-loving people. And invariably, after they begin to break into this activity and see what it's all about, then they want to influence you with their folk dances. So, man alive, our band, we work with live music quite a bit. And our musicians get the dangest requests you ever saw for songs that they want to dance to. So we get out and have our dancers join them in some of their traditional dances that they want to show us on the spot. And the first thing you know, you have people who are the Secretary of Defense for some country, or maybe I can't even think of the words to describe all the people insofar as their importance is concerned to their particular government that we worked with. And those people are out showing you how to do a folk dance that they learned in their country. We had the Minister of Finance for one country, I believe it was Belgium, the Minister of Defense for Belgium, that loved to sing. And after we got in through the dancing thing, he came up and approached me about singing some folk songs. So we started a little sing-along, and then he decided he would like to lead us in some of their folk songs. So he got the mic, and with the band, and we had about an hour session of listening to this gentleman sing and lead us. It was a wonderful time. He just really, needless to say, we got a pretty nice contract out of it. Company got a beautiful contract out of it. I don't know that that's the reason. I'd be lying if I said that was the entire reason, but I can't help but think it contributed. So there are so many ways that you can use the square dance activity as a tool to help you in your public relations work. And I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I don't think the actual gimmicks that you use, they're important, but I don't think I'm meaning to say that one is particularly more important than the other. The fact that you can break the people into an atmosphere of square dancing which is relaxed, which does let you join hands, men and girls, which does put you in an atmosphere of which you are completely casual, and you can become a one-on-one person. And it's just a beautiful experience to work with. We've worked with them for, quite often now for about the past 10 years. And with one exception, it has gone beautifully. We even provide little things that sometimes that aren't a part of square dancing, just to put in a little cowboy image or something. We have some gunfighters that the company hires quite often to come on and put a little western show in the middle of it, and we put on a little scenario where one of the gunfighters comes in and grabs one of the dancers and starts taking her away, and there's a mock-up fuss about it, and the first thing, everybody starts bringing out the big 6 guns and have a shoot 'em. I want to share a funny story we did that maybe departs from the program a little bit, but just to share it and then I'll be through, is when we first entertained the Japanese delegation, it mostly was military people, and they were mostly Air Force type people. And we had the gentleman who was their chief of staff, along with all his right down the rank officers. And that particular night, we were only told to take the 4 top people and dance with those people. And not any of them spoke fluent English, only, and particularly the head man could only say a few words. But he was a character. He just loved the dance activity. Well, they particularly wanted to continue, and we just had a limited time to work with. But the first thing I noticed is after we'd danced 3 or 4 of them, the entire delegation had lined up, one right behind the other, all the way down the line, so they could have their turn at dancing. Well, that got to be unworkable, so we finally explained to them that we just did not have time, so we put them all in a big circle similar to what Bob did and worked with them a few minutes, dismissed them. Then the gunfight show came along, and after the gunfight show, the first thing I noticed was all the line forming up again. And I didn't know what the line was for. So I finally got someone to interpret to me what was happening with the line. And they finally made the request in English that I could understand. They wanted to participate in the gunfight. So I approached one of the gentlemen that was in the gunfight show where they wear the Western clothes and the black hats and the white hats and the old-time big 6 guns and all, and asked him would he mind getting into a little shooting contest with the Japanese delegation. They agreed to do so. So we started lining them up and trying to buckle these big old holsters and belts on them. Well, every one of them would just fall to the ground. There's no way they'd buckle. So they finally got where they'd take the revolvers out and they'd stick them in their belt and undo their coat, and they would get off and they'd get all set and he draw, and they'd draw and start shooting these blanks. And man, we had a regular cowboy game there. But what started out to be a very formal party turned out to be a blast. And I don't know whether we got that contract or not, never did hear. But it really turned out to be amusing. But it all began through taking square dancing as a one-night stand to just simply break the ice. I can't think of anything, any activity that has ever been so successful in making people come into a oneness where they really feel like they are part of something. So I would encourage you to make this known. If you happen to work in any sort of field where this can be an advantage to you, the results are unbelievable. I would assure you that there is an avenue for you to explore as square dance callers where you could put your talents to use for your particular company. If you are in any form of business that has you associate with people who come in for business negotiations that are being entertained in the normal manner, suggest a square dance party, and I think you'll find the results amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Melton. We had programmed this session so that the time that's available, well, actually, we have enough material to last until about Thursday noon, I think, that we had outlined that we would like to do. And the time goes by, and we were going to open it up to questions at this moment. But we've just had a request for a square dance, for group dancing squares, because we have one of the papers, the Enquirer, with us. And so it just seems to be part of the fact that one night stands and this kind of program reaches out through such a wide variety of activities to publicity and to tell the story of our folk dancing. And so let's change our program a little bit and set up a square here in the center. Wonder if we could just swing the chairs around so that we have a center section there. And could we have a square of dancers? Yeah. Normally we would. Normally we would go through some of the things that Bob went through and lead into squares, as you know. And one of the fly leaves, one of the handout leaves, was an extension of stars, and I wonder if we could just put on a record and use some of that material and do our little extension or our star. Just take a look at some of the formations that we can reach from with stars. Okay. I would like you to role play non-dancers. Bow to the partner, bow to the corner, join hands, circle to the left, circle to the right, single file, the ladies lead and I get back home. And when you're there, all the ladies go forward and back. 4 ladies, put a right hand in, make a right hand star. Go the other way back, star by the left. Do, si, do, si, do, your partner's there. Do an Alaman left. Come back and promenade around the ring and promenade around again and I get back there. And when you're there, all the men go forward and back. Make a right hand star, star by the right. Back by the left, go the other way back. Well done. Do, si, do, when you meet your partner there, go all the way around to the corner. Alaman left with the corner. Promenade, walk your girl. You promenade around the world and I get back there. And when you're there, heads go forward up to the middle and back. Put a right hand in, make a right hand star. Now back by the left, star by the left. Stop at home and sides go forward and back. Put a right hand in, make a right hand star. Star by the left, go the other way back. We're going to have you stop at home because we're running out of time. Now heads forward and back. Just on the diagonal, face right, and with a couple you face, go forward and back. Make a right hand star. Now back by the left. Heads go forward and back in the middle again. Diagonally, face left. With a brand new 2, go forward and back. Put a right hand in, make a right hand star, star by the right. Now the other way back, star by the left. You all back out, make a big ring, circle to the left, go around again, circle to the left. The other way back in single file to get back home. And when you're there, bow to the partner and bow to the corner, and there you stand. Thank you, partner. Let's take a rest, and we're going to open this meeting to questions addressed to the panel, or any input you would like to make. You must recognize that we run out of time before we cover the total program. But first of all, questions addressed to the panel. Anyone with a question that they would like to address to the panel? We have Jim Hilton at the back, and I'm not sure whether there are floor mics. So if you could come forward and use the microphone.
My question is, why can't CALLERLAB coordinate with the news media so that we get people who are dressed as square dancers normally are, instead of bringing in news media at our personal meetings when we don't know anything about it? And now this is going out as a very bad image unless we are dressed as good square dancers. I really think something should be done.
Jim, conversely, agreed for image. However, this is what I see 7 nights out of the week. So if in the article they will put one night stand, my people in a one-night stand have never seen a square dance dress. They have no idea what it is, and therefore, I know how many of you feel about it, and I feel the same way with square dancers. But when you're working on a one-night stand basis, and I hope they'll just note that on a one-night stand, in fact, one of my clubs has been calling for 27 years, and you can walk in the first Friday of any month and dance. and 22 sets on the floor, and they're in all sorts of regalia. So if you make a note on that, I would buy part of it. However, if the newspaper will simply say that this was a one-night stand demonstration, we might get not so much flack.
This may be true in your area, and I don't take issue with that, but across the nation we are advertised as Western square dancing, and our costumes are beautiful, and they can attract a lot of people to our activity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. To the microphone. Bob, do you want to move forward?
I've just talked with the gentleman who's going to write the article.
Thank you. We have the gentleman who is writing the article.
Pardon me. I'm sorry if I've offended any of you. The Inquirer has done a couple of pieces in the last year on square dancing. There have been a couple of large square dance conventions in Philadelphia. And we have had photographs of folks in marvelous costume. I'm here to try to do a piece. I'm really not certain what it is yet, but that's normally the way it is on square dance callers. Perhaps the folks who spend much of their time going out trying to spread the word, and so this is not meant to show how people are when they're square dancing. It's meant to show callers being with other callers, and that will be accurately reflected. If I've offended you, I apologize.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have we other questions of the panel? Have we questions directed directly to the panel about the subject? Tomorrow the issue will be out, yes. To the microphone, please.
I would be interested in one of the panel members elaborating on whether you have any success in using one-night stands as a recruitment tool and how you go about that.
Bob, would you like to speak to that?
Very quick and positive answer. I always say if you want to get serious about this stuff, I have a class on Monday night, and I start 3 sessions a year. 1 in September, 1 in January, and 1 when I go back in April. And I have 2 levels. I have beginning level and then intermediate to advanced. And so if you want to get serious about square dancing, I'd love to have you come out on Monday nights, and I give them the date and the place. So yes, there's an enormous amount. It's a very soft sell. I don't push anybody on it. I don't say, hey, you should be square dancing. I do it very softly, but I encourage them, hey, this is great fun, and come on out and dance. I also send them out to that one-night stand and let them get exposed a little bit, and then sell it from there.
And sometimes it's very difficult to know, what percentage of the dancers come because of any particular form of publicity that we have, because some people might see square dancing at a one-night stand, but not get around to dancing, like not go home from a one-night stand and directly go to classes. Others might be interested, but like bringing square dancing to the attention of the public is such an important part of our program, as well as giving them a super good time. Anyone else with questions or anything they would like to add to the subject of one-night stands? And you will be next. Sorry to bring you all the way up to the microphone.
I mentioned this earlier, Lucky Shotwell from Michigan, and Jack Cook, who many of you know, introduced to us Michigan callers. We use and this is from the standpoint of the last gentleman's question, we use a little postcard that Michigan Square Dance leaders had printed up in grand bulk, where we can grab them by the handful, and it's a card that we just put out at whenever we do a one-night stand, and it says, I am interested in learning square dance activity, and as a spot to X, whether you're a couple, a single, a retiree, or what, your name, address, telephone number, and the night that you would like to have classes or like to take classes. This card I take, and different fellows use it different ways, but I put my stamp on the other side of it. let people either fill it out and hand it back to me, or else mail it, because it is stamped with a rubber stamp. And frankly, I get probably 60-70% of my classes through these cards after doing one-nighters.
That's a very positive answer.
Fred Strang from Johnstown, PA. In a couple places in our area, the clubs usually hold one dance a year in the local shopping mall right in the middle of the mall. And we do about 2 tips of demonstration, and then we say that we're going to have the dancers go out, and they grab people that's shopping, and they put them in squares, and we do a demonstration like that to show them how much fun it is. And then after that, we tell them that classes will be starting if they're interested, and we give them the date and so on. And we have terrific response up in the Indiana area.
Sir?
Gordon Blom from Miami, Florida. On the one-night stands, particularly if I'm closing a beginner class at the third night, and a couple of weeks later I'm doing a one-night stand, I'll use a lot of that material, but I'll do it in good fun and doing it. In fact, if I can't get 90% of the floor up, I'm doing a bad job. So I kind of gear it around that. In fact, back to what Melton was doing with getting the high-duties up, for dancing. I did one last month in which the governor of Florida was there, and of course Governor Bob Graham he always goes out. Maybe you hear about it in other parts. He would go out and be a highway patrolman one week and one day, and then another day. So I said, now, Governor Graham, this time you're going to call a square dance. He said, oh no, I don't have the talent for that. That takes too much. I said, you will if I stand by you, and I'll whisper to you and put on a heavy basic beat, hold down, and not too fast, I'd stand next to him. I'd say, circle to the left. He'd repeat it, and so he started getting the rhythm of it. And oh boy, he was going to town. Then after about an hour, he says, Gordon, let's call another dance. I said, no, you're going to call it. I handed him the mic, and boy, he was living it up. Everybody in the middle with a 2-egg Florida yell, or a Gator, University of Florida Gator yell, and boy, he had them all going. And I felt so good because in the program, he came up to me and says, give me your card. Now, I like to say this. I've heard a lot of callers say, well, one-night stands are not for me. I don't enjoy it. And just like Deco Deck said, your heart's got to be in it. I'll say this to any caller. If his heart is not in one-night stands, to want to do one or two, just like a beginner class, then he's in the wrong field. And I really believe that. After this many years of calling, I enjoy the one-night stand as much or more than calling an A dance. And that's just my feeling. Thank you.
Bill Johnston, Pennsylvania. I've been in the activity for a long time, and during all that time I keep hearing arguments pro and con, starting one-night stands in a circle or getting them immediately into squares. I'd like to know what the panel thinks.
I think you do best what is best for you, but I personally have no trouble working with a circle. In fact, I practically always start the dancers in some sort of a circle, or I pair them off in couples in any manner, and just pass them from through one couple on to the next, and for right-hand stars and back with left-hand stars, and any number of patterns. And it just seems to work for me. But I would suggest that whatever is best for you. It certainly is not difficult to break up into even squares, and whatever odd numbers are left over, simply substitute those people in and out as you need to, dance a while, and then let someone rest. I've always found that people are willing to rest and let someone take their place, so that way you can keep the entire body of dancers going. I personally feel it's what's best for you. What's best for me is to start them in a circle.
Obviously, Bob has already done a program to say that he does, and I as well, start people in a circle. But there are times, of course, when squares work better. And any other questions?
I'm Mary Jenkins, Silver Spring, Maryland. I wanted to just tell you something funny. we have all kinds of one-night stands, and Eben gets a great deal of pleasure out of one-night stands, and I do too, because we like to see the happiness in the people's faces. Ed Gilmore used to say, you don't listen to their clapping, you look at their faces, and we like that. But we had something happen last week I got to share with you. We did a surprise birthday party for the wealthy owner of a electronics firm, and his wife had brought up a band from Tennessee, his home state, and they composed a very vulgar song that they sang. It might as well have been a smoker, and I was embarrassed for his employees who were there too. But in the middle of the evening, Eben just finished a square, and they like that. He always starts with a circle, by the way. They got the guest of honor to sit in the middle of the floor with his back to us. And here came a girl in a blouse and skirt, and she danced around a little bit, and then she started unbuttoning her skirt, and finally took her skirt off, and she unbuttoned her blouse, and she took her blouse off, and well, she did have on her underwear, so I wasn't too shook, but presently she took off her bra, then she took off her panties, and she got down to the last G-string, and here's the poor guy here, embarrassed to death. Here we are right behind him, about 40 feet, but behind him everybody was looking in our direction. Anyhow, it was an honest-to-goodness striptease, and we had never had one of those happen at a square dance, and I don't know, be prepared, guys.
Where was that? I know, people will ask.
Are we all dead? Never mind. Can you hear me? All right. It was two of his friends that put up $200. The strip teaser was local. This is the D.C. area. It was at the Four Seasons in Georgetown, and that is not a slummy place either. I mean, that's a nice hotel.
Listen to Bob Van Antwerp. I hope you're not going to top that one. Topless that one.
I cannot top that one. I expected Bob Howell could, but I cannot. I just want to say one thing, that these people we have up here on the panel are some of the greatest in the one-night stand profession. And I appreciate the fact that they have taken the time, because, once again, we don't thank our people on the panels, and I'm one who appreciate the efforts that they put into it, and I want to thank you. Just a real quick comment before we are going to be breaking up, and I still say and maintain that one-night stands is your greatest source and revenue of getting new dancers, to me. And I will share with you one experience. I heard Melton share with his cowboy experience. I will share with you a situation that happened to Bob Osgood and myself in Bangkok, Thailand, not too long ago. We had 80 dancers in the hotel, and we went to the dance, a regular ballroom dance, with a Thai band. We found out that we always carried a little amplifier along with us so we could have a little square dancing when we wanted to. Well, we found out that the band was taking longer intermissions so we could square dance. And so we had so much time to show people what square dancing was in Bangkok. We found out there was a group of 20 people along the sideline in different kinds of dress. There was a colonel, a British colonel. There was a lady in an Indian sari dress. We didn't know who they were, but at the intermission every time, we'd go over and bring these people in, and we'd show them how to do a simple movement of a circle movement, a do-sa-do, and etc. We did this for about 4 different times, and finally the band gave up and went home and left us with the hall. And we had more people out there dancing with us than there was with the band who was playing. The funny thing about it is we didn't know who these people were, but they were so excited to get out there and be a part of our square dance activity. Till the next morning in the Bangkok Tribune, there's a picture of these group of people taking off by plane for Manila, and that night we had been teaching the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization.
What a wide variety of subjects we have covered within the main subject of one-night stands. Just almost blows your mind to think of the opportunities to present this kind of program. out where we are, from the smallest community group to some of these very important international meetings. And thank you for participating. I want to thank Melton and Bob as well. I want to thank you people for coming, and if you have questions that we haven't answered, please see us afterwards. Thank you very much.
How about a nice hand for Orphie Easson?